DreamWeavers StarTrax.
Hey, how you doing, storytellers? We are DreamWeavers StarTrax. This is CorenZai, host.
And this is CorenZai, host.
Hi, how you doing? And Coren is one of the top-notch vocal coaches in the world, and
Ren is one of the top-notch acting coaches in the world.
Sometimes.
So we're going to sit here and talk about today, acting,
We
singing,
are.
storytelling, and
a little bit of that. So we're dealing with really hot weather, and a lot of people are experiencing more heat on their vocal cords than they've ever done before.
That's very true.
What are some of the things they can do because their voices are drying out? They're having a problem.
That's right.
What are some of the things that go wrong with that much heat?
Well, let me tell you, it's 108 degrees in Las Vegas. And so everybody that's coming in for voice lessons has a bunch of junk in their throat, a bunch of mucus. Why? Because when it's this hot, it's dusty, and it dries out the body. The body's response to being dehydrated is mucus, to lubricate the cord. So one of the things that you can do, and is imperative to do, is to make sure you drink tons of water. Now, some people don't like water. Okay, I happen to be one of those people. So what I do is I'll get a hibiscus tea bag. Won't even boil the water. I'll just put it in there because I like hibiscus tea. You know, watch out for honey. Sometimes that causes more mucus. Watch out for white sugar. Sometimes that causes more mucus.
Causes mucus.
But, you know, hibiscus tea is pretty cool because it's pretty sweet all by itself. The other thing that you can do is, and you don't want to do this long term, but when it's hot like it is now, take like in a regular water bottle, 8 ounce or whatever, put like a tablespoon of aloe vera juice.
Ooh.
Because what that does is it goes in and really gets in that cord and lubricates it. The more lubricated the cord, the less dehydrated the cord is.
Okay.
Because to be able to hit those high notes, that cord has to thin and stretch. And if it is not lubricated, then it's kind of brittle and it won't stretch. So those high notes are going to be more challenging.
Wow. Okay, that's impressive.
That's one of 1,000 things you can do, but those are my two favorites.
Okay, well that's kind of cool.
Thanks.
So
are you going to talk a little bit about acting? Because DreamWeavers. No, let me try that again. DreamWeavers run out imagination, helping the world one artist, one story at a time. And this is our storytelling master, CorenZai. So what are you going to tell people today for your
I'm going to remind people, because a lot of people, young actors out there and beginning actors, you get a script, you get a monologue, or you're in a play, and you say, oh my gosh, I got to memorize my lines. I'd like, if I could, to teach you to not think that way. There are two approaches to lines. And one is you memorize them, but there's a danger in memorizing lines. You end up doing it at a certain pace, a certain speed in your head or out loud, and you develop a rhythm which may not work for the character or the story. My suggestion is it's not memorization, which is strictly pretty well auditory, by the way. You take that, you look at your script. What's it about? Oh, okay, it's a scene. It's an old broken down house out in Georgia. I'm walking out, I'm looking around and realizing how amazing that my grandparents used to live there and what they used to do. And I wondered, whatever happened to my grandfather, because he disappeared. So you're looking at the script. Okay, I got that sense. I'm in Georgia, so I'm going to have to probably work on a little stylizing of accent and kind of get that to work out a little bit. And, we have to work all of that stuff. But the real thing is, once you got your script, hold your script in one hand or the other with your thumb so that you can move your thumb downwards on a script. And what you're doing is you look at your line, don't memorize it. Perform it. In other words, don't move faster than you can perform the words. In other words, don't move faster than you can feel what you're saying. Now, when it comes to the other character's line in between your line, use your visualization, design them, visualize who they are, hear who they are, see who they are, feel who they are, if it has something to do with touch. Use your senses and perform your line. And then while you're listening to their line, don't just perform your line, perform your line, perform your line. Imagine them performing to you and then respond to them and react. Because again, acting is reacting. Now we're going to come back in a few moments with a really amazing guest.
I'm so excited about the guest that's coming up.
Too. See ya.
DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax.
We are back, storytellers, and yes, you just saw
What?
an amazing little piece of just a little bite of history of Miss CorenZai.
Who could that be?
CorenZai.
Who could that be? Finally, it's about me. It's finally, I say it every show.
It's such a Leo thing to do.
Such a Leo thing to do, yes. And we have Miss Des here who's going to help
Yeah.
with interviewing me. Oh my God, I hope they're kind to me.
So
Don't send me questions I can't answer.
it all depends what we're getting for dinner.
Oh,
Okay, anyway.
I'm fine.
All right. So what happens there? You saw some pretty wild stuff there. Performance, singing, and yes, some very unusual things like, was she dealing with fire? Yes, there's some of that.
Oh, heck
And there's a lot of things we're going to get into through the rest of the show because she has done an amazing amount of things. But first we want to start with, because you started out as a dancer, and you actually had a lot more walls against you as a dancer than most people did.
Oh yeah. My childhood. Don't get me wrong. I had a loving home, incredible mom, incredible brother, grandma, my dad, and everything. A lot of support. My mom was a professional dancer, so I was raised within that. However, I wanted to be a prima ballerina. I wanted it so bad. I went to Gus Giordano. One of the biggest
Where's
schools
that? Is that
in
in
Chicago.
Chicago? Okay.
Yeah, very, very well-known school. Great troupe, and I wanted to be a prima ballerina. I loved jazz. I loved tap. I loved all of it. Started performing at 8, and we were poor. We didn't have money. My mom, I don't know how she paid for this, but she did. There were times we didn't have much to eat, but I always
Moms are
went.
miraculous.
Moms are miraculous. I always went to dance school. And so I loved all the other disciplines, but I wanted to be a prima ballerina. And I was performing all over Chicago. But by the time I was 12, it was time to go on point. And oh my God, I was so excited. All the kids are going on point. And I'm like, okay, the next season, I'm going to be able to get on point class. I'd done ballet since I was 3,
Okay.
right?
And just for clarification, on point means
On point means if you've seen the dancers and the ballerinas, you see them and their toes are like this, but on point means literally.
They're walking where they're
on-
moving around.
Yeah, if you're
It's
watching
pretty
Swan
impressive.
Lake or that kind of stuff, the Nutcracker, they're on
So
point.
you were going to get go on point.
I was going to go on point, and the ballet mistress, it was ballet Russe, Russian,
Wow. Ooh,
not
pretty
French
rough.
ballet, and she said, "No, you cannot do this." And I'm like, "Well, I can't do what?" "No, you cannot go on point." And I'm like, "Cannot go on point?" "No, I mean you can't go on point." "Why?" Said, "Because your center's off. You have bad back." And I'm like, I looked at my mom like, bad back? What does that mean? Well, my mother had never told me.
Oh, wow.
Right? I was born.
So your mother hadn't told you this
She never
until
told me.
it came up.
I never knew
Wow.
there was anything wrong with me. She was in a car accident with me when she was 7.5 months pregnant, and I had a spinal injury in utero. Is that what it's called? And I had
In the womb.
In the
Yeah,
womb.
exactly.
I had fusions, and I had a curvature, and I was missing bones in my spine. Fusions means I don't have all my vertebrae that move. So
Yeah, like her neck where ours turn. There's 7 vertebrae up
everybody's gonna
here.
look for this.
6 of hers have been fused since birth.
Right.
And
And my
her
spine goes like
spine
this.
spins out this way and inward.
yeah, it's wacky.
So,
so,
yeah, she got
she
more.
said she cannot do this. There's something wrong with her spine. It's like, oh God, it was like Auschwitz, And so I said, oh my God, heartbroken. However, my mom had never told me, and she told me that there was just one cord shorter than the other in the neck. Well, I said okay, because who knows that there's not cords in your neck?
So
I
you
believe my
found out
mom.
you couldn't do the
I
dance.
couldn't do it. So I said, oh my God, my heart is broken. Maybe I can sing. Problem was, I was horrible.
Uh-oh. And we're going to find out
Yes,
what
we're
happened
gonna
next
come
with the
back.
singing career. We'll see you in just a few moments. Enjoy yourselves.
DreamWeavers You know I feel so alone. Didn't mean to end. DreamWeavers StarTrax.
All right.
Okay.
Hi,
That
Art.
was kind of
That
Oh
was
my God!
really cool.
Oh my God! You know what I miss the most? My jawline.
So we left off in the last segment talking about you getting into singing.
Yes.
So let's continue on that path and figure out. So you're saying you weren't that great. What exactly does that mean coming from a musical person?
Well, the first time I sang in public, I don't even think I've told Ren this.
No.
I was like maybe 11. It was before they told me that I couldn't be a prima ballerina.
What grade is that?
Fifth, sixth.
Yeah, it's the
sixth,
first time I sang in front of people, and what
Fifth.
happened is I didn't sing.
Sixth grade. It was sixth grade.
I looked at them.
Oh, I sang, and we were doing "Born Free" from the movie,
Oh,
and
wow.
I was singing with two other girls, and I started an octave too high.
Okay.
I had no chops. Okay, I couldn't sing.
For
I
an
didn't know how to sing.
octave, if you picture a keyboard, they're white and black keys. It's 12 notes above
Oh, yeah.
where it should have
Yeah,
been.
that was ugly. That was ugliness in action. It was terrible in front of the whole school. Well, needless to say, I was crying my eyes out and swore I'd never sing again. But deep down, as much as I loved to dance, I really, really wanted to sing. So I didn't sing again until my I think it was sophomore year in high school.
Okay.
And that was like the 60s, and everybody was like, oh my God, peace, love, and granola. And we were in English class, and someone...
It was a fun time.
It was a fun time. Someone had a guitar out, and we were doing Joplin's Summertime. And everybody was singing in a group. That's how cool it
Wow,
was. In English
Joplin's
class, we
Summertime.
got a guitar and we're singing. And all of a sudden, everybody stopped singing, and they were... One person was singing, and it sounded great. And everybody was looking at me. And I went... Oh my God, that's me! Obviously, my voice had changed, and I'd forgotten I didn't know how to sing.
Yeah.
And 6 months later, I was singing all over Chicago in the coffee houses
That is
and
awesome.
getting paid.
That is awesome.
So I couldn't be a prima ballerina, but I was able to sing.
That's kind of
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. So, and then my career started working from there.
And then you went from singing to,
yeah.
now you went from a singer to a
Vocal
vocal
coach.
Oh, I'm a vocal coach.
This
God.
is true.
I went,
And who taught you how to do all that?
my teacher.
Where did that get started?
Well, we went to a music conservatory called, and we've mentioned it before on the show, Dick Grove Commercial School of Music in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore, but it was postgraduate music school. And I met someone named Jana Brown, who was our vocal technique coach there, and she was Seth Riggs' teacher,
And her boyfriend was with Toto at the time.
the background singer for Toto. And now he's with Keith Urban. And so I was a vocal major, and so I was studying with her, and eventually started working with Seth, who's worked with Stevie Wonder his whole life, and
Yeah,
Ray Charles and Luther Vandross and Beyonce and
Bolton,
Justin
the
Timberlake,
Jackson Family,
you know, the
Streisand.
OJs, every could go on and on and on. And so there was a point in time in our career where we got in a bad contract, and we weren't able to work for a year. And so Seth said to me, "Why don't you teach?" And I went, "Me teach?" He said, "You got this stuff down. Just start teaching. Use my name. You're an associate." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I never saw myself as a teacher, but I never ever in a million years realized how satisfying
Wow.
helping young artists and older artists realize their dream would be."
And you spent
That
years
is-
training. I mean,
yes.
they tested you every year
Ugh.
and everything till you
Yeah,
became
every
a
year.
top-notch
Yeah,
vocal coach.
they
Wow.
would bring in a student that you'd never seen before, and you had 20 minutes to fix their voice and then explain to them what you did, and that's how you gain your levels. And they charged you for it.
Wow. That's true, they did. Well, next up we're going to take a look at a little something, because Corinne did something else, because part of singing is songwriting. See you in a few moments.
If I wanna know, shiny loves me so it's good. Oh yes, it is good. My child, you know I feel so alone. Sleeping on the streets at night. DreamWeavers StarTrax.
Wow.
Okay, that's bizarre.
Amazing.
What?
Let's see,
Absolutely
you
amazing.
everything from a rock and roll singer to the show that you were in, and then
Thank you, sure.
you also then at the end you've also done Barbra Streisand. So, and the main thing about that is the last one where you see her with the group, and what you heard is that was an original piece, right? So,
Yes.
where did you get your songwriting training?
Well,
How'd you get into it?
I started writing probably in my 20s, and most of my writing has some humor in it because, as you can tell, I'm a little crazy. But that specific song, Ren and I wrote together actually for a movie. It was the title song to a movie called "Deal Me In." But I got my training in college also at Dick Grove with the amazing Jack Smalley, Mission Impossible, Murder She Wrote, Charlie's Angels, Robin Randall. She's written for Starship and a bunch of groups, and her grandfather actually wrote the Gilligan's Island theme song. And John Brahaney, the late great John Brahaney, who started the Los Angeles Songwriter Showcase and started many
Taxi for
people's-
Musicians
Taxi
for the
for
Business
Musicians
made a
for-
giant difference in our life.
So they trained me. And Kay Parker, who's Diane Warren's protege, and
yeah.
Diane Warren has an incredible amount of Grammys. She wrote the Armageddon song for Steve Tyler, and I Turn to You for Christina Aguilera. Could go on and on and on. Anyway, so I was blessed to be able to learn songwriting from them. So the Deal Me In song, they wanted that specific, right? I'm not a rock singer, people, but if you want to earn a living as a singer, you got to be able to sing anything
In different styles.
In different styles. So the director and producer wanted that gravelly, in your face rock sound. So I did that. Not my happy place, but we did it, and it was fun. Night Child is near and dear to me.
Yeah.
It was about part of my childhood. My mom passed away young, and I was on my own on the streets when I was.
And that was
in my
over a video
teens.
done by Jessica Kensler, who was out in LACC and in film school, and she had to finish that project. So
Right. She did
we
it on that
applied
song.
that song to the video, and the girl running out with the dark hair represents Corinne growing up and what her home life was. And yes, I was a very bad man in that film.
He was. That was Ren being all the dad. So that song's near and dear to my heart. That song. I always feel when you're with songwriting, you can purge a lot of pain, but you can also help a lot of people through that. And so I always call it making lemonade out of lemons, right? Because ouch, that hurt. But you know what? Somebody else is hurting in the same way. Let them know they're not alone and that there's a solution. I always try to solutionize in my songs. The end of that song has two different endings. One is left with no solution. One is left with a solution. And I, to this day, have never figured out which one is my happy place. But songwriting, I love it. I love it. We've written many, many songs together.
Yeah, and she won some awards for some amazing songs that just tear your heart up out in LA. So yeah.
And we're hoping by next year I'll have a mini album
Mini
out.
album,
So,
yeah.
Sweet.
yeah, we're working on it. So never too old, never too late.
No.
And I still miss my jawline the most.
So that's very cool what you did with the songwriting and stuff like that. And where do they start if somebody wants to? Like, I want to be a songwriter. And one of the things we did learn is one of the greatest mistakes that many beginners have is they have an engagement and marry their words.
Oh my God. Ren came up with the most incredible analogy. We were teaching a class together, songwriting class together. And he said, would you throw your baby out if it got dirty, if the clothes got dirty? And they said, no. Why not? Because the baby, wash it. Okay. The clothes are the lyrics and the melody. The baby is your message.
It's
So
the message.
don't be
Stick
married.
to the message.
Stick
Make
to
sure
the
it's a
message.
good message. All
Very
right, we're
nice.
going to come back and we're going to learn a little more and watch her perform.
You know what?
Yeah?
I forgot Bobo.
What, Bobo? No, don't take Bobo. That's my
I
thing.
forgot Bobo. What is this deeper stuff you're talking about?
Well, Sherry, my best friend Danny says I need to go deeper to make things better.
Oh, Danny says you gotta go
Yeah,
deeper.
yeah.
The kind of deeper Danny's talking about. And the kind of deeper you need to keep me around are two entirely different kinds of deeper. How about it, ladies?
Yeah?
DreamWeavers StarTrax.
Okay, that was kind of fun to watch, but I must
Absolutely.
admit, the picture at the ending of the fire, I just have to bring it up because people are going to look at that picture and go, what is it you're doing? And what were we doing at that time in our life? What's that picture about?
Well, I owe the best part of my life to eating fire
It's true.
because that's how we met.
That's
over
true.
fire eating. He taught me how to eat fire. He's an amazing fire eater and fire manipulator.
Boyfriends, this is not an advisory
No.
idea.
You gotta know how to do it. Okay. And he taught me how, and because, as a singer and in the entertainment industry, sometimes you're working and sometimes you ain't.
That's true. You got to know a lot of things.
Right. And so I always as many skill sets as I could get. That meant I wouldn't have to sell shoes because I'd starve to death. I'd spend all my money on shoes.
Plus, she made all the costumes you see there, which are impressive.
I did.
And the young lady sitting down on the floor is now finished her PhD in psychology.
Doctor of psychology.
And the bullet catcher is about 30 pounds heavier and has blonde hair.
That's Ren. Doesn't he look cute with black hair? So I learned to eat fire from Ren, and it was an interesting skill set. Took us around. One of the things that took us around the world, performing. Novelty arts makes money, and people are interested in it. But it's very dangerous. Do not do it.
We had a tendency to be a little extreme.
Very
in what we
dangerous
did,
for so many reasons. If you are interested in it, call me, text me, email me, and
we'll tell you why
it.
not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fire is very dangerous because even if you survive the fire, we learned later on, which we didn't pay attention, the chemicals really mess with you.
Yeah,
as you get
petroleum
older.
poisoning people. It's
And
dangerous.
as far as the bullet catch, don't even talk about it. 39 people tried it, 36 died, so let's don't even get into there.
And on September 22nd, we'll be interviewing Ren, and we'll be talking about that.
We'll see about that.
So
one.
I'm just curious. Going
Yes.
back to your singing career, and you were doing fire eating in your off time.
Right.
How did that impact your voice?
Fire eating?
Yes.
It really didn't affect my voice that much.
That's true. You used to open the show singing.
I
and then
would
sit through
always
the
open the
fire.
show singing. What it did impact was my lungs.
Yeah.
I had because of the smoke. It's different than smoking a cigarette because it was white gasoline, so
lead gas.
it was lead free. But however,
No, it wasn't, actually.
It wasn't. Oh well,
No.
I probably have lead poisoning too.
We did,
So
both of us.
so it didn't really. My cords weren't as swollen as if I was smoking cigarettes, but my lungs, and believe me, to this day, I still have problems with my lungs from it. So I wouldn't suggest doing it, but it's beautiful, and we travel around the world with it. But it did impact my singing.
Yeah, we're not going
with
to
my lung
pass it
capacity.
on our training.
With
on
my
that
lung
one.
capacity.
It just has too many negative side effects.
Yeah, but the thing that was kind of cool about it was my basic foundation after dancing when I started singing was theater. So I got some of the acting in, and that's what
which
you saw
showed
there.
up on there, which was kind of
Right,
cool with
right. Frankie and
for
Sherry
your
show?
Frankie and Sherry show, and Mark Maynard, which you'll all be meeting in a few weeks from now.
Yeah, he's going to be on September 20.
That was kind of
August
cool.
25th.
That was kind of a fun part. You guys got to do some traveling.
It was a fun show. We traveled. We did a tour of Ohio, and we did a bunch of stuff in Vegas. We sat down at the Greek Isles Casino for a while with the show. It was fun. It was cool because I hadn't really done a whole bunch of acting in a long time, and
That's true.
except when we did
Last of the Red Hot Lovers.
and we did it together.
Was a
That was
whole
fun.
play, and the guy said, "I'm out of actors. I need 2 of them." Okay, when's it due? We're opening 2 weeks from now. Corinne went, "I've never memorized a whole script." I said, "Well, good, because we're not going to
since-
memorize it."
not
As
since
I
I
told
was
you in the beginning of the program.
14. So yeah, but we had fun. That was fun.
We did. That was actually pretty funny in how it worked.
Which
All
means,
right, we're going to watch her again here,
Yes.
and I want you to see if you recognize her. Have fun.
Your sister wanted to come see your apartment.
I never see my little sister much anymore. We're kind of distant. And, She's a little bit. Okay. Yeah, well, look at that. She's kind of got your...
She got my eyes.
She got your eyes. That's right, Ma. Okay. Well, they take good care of my little sis there. She doesn't say much anyway.
You look like all skinny and stuff. So I brought you some food. We gotta fatten these people up.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me of your father.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, Dad promised that you weren't going to tell me nothing about that. Okay.
DreamWeavers StarTrax.
Okay, that was adorable.
That was so cute.
Mrs. Daly!
So cute.
Mrs. Daly! Yeah, which is wrong, wasn't it?
Oh, that was so cute. I mean, she walked up on the stage, and it was so funny how the people, the older people in the audience, just loved the humor that came with
At first, they didn't know it was me.
No, they did not until the end of the show.
Yeah, but Yiddish Mädel. Of course, he's Italian, but it's the same thing.
That's true.
So-
It kind of comes up the same
And you
way.
guys look like you had such a great camaraderie on stage. Like you guys look like you worked really well together.
Oh yeah, Frankie, Mark and I had a ball with doing that show.
Yeah, and he originally created that show. He had spent years
He wrote
because he
it.
worked with Legends as Frankie Valli, and then he ended up writing that, and the two of you did that and traveled around
Right.
the country. It was kind of fun.
Right, it was fun. It was cool to do that character piece, because as Renan says all the time, when you're a singer, every song's a 3.5 minute, 4 minute monologue.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you're singing with other people, it's a scene. So to be able to kind of brush off on my acting chops, which to remind me what it was like to be standing there naked with no melody,
Yeah, that's right.
and have to actually be able to perform, and be Mrs. Valley and Sherry, and I like comedy, so being the crazy funny
It
part.
was fun, yeah. You did a
Yeah.
good job. I mean, the audiences would howl on that. And the cool part, it's so funny to hear you say, oh my God, I'm without a melody. When the funny part is most people who are acting, when they have to sing a song, oh my gosh, I have to sing. And it's funny for you, it's like, I'm without a melody. What's that?
Yeah, everybody has their Linus's blanket. Everybody's got something that they're hanging on to. When you're a singer, your box is melody and lyric. And when you're an actor, it's acting. It's dialogue. And it's real funny that we should bring that up, because I was listening to NPR. Love you, NPR. I was listening to NPR the other day, and Liv Schreiber, who's Ray Donovan, was on. And
really?
we love Ray Donovan. We watch it all the time.
He's a heck of
And
an
remember
actor.
when he had to sing karaoke?
Oh, yes, I do.
He said that it terrified him. Now, this guy is a brilliant actor, won all kinds of awards.
And he
for
played
film,
in the
television.
Wolverine. He was the Wolverine's brother or friend
Something
or
like
something
that,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, yeah, and I'm telling you what,
X-Men.
he said he was freaking out to having to sing. And I'm like, really? You're Liv Schreiber. Come on, you're Ray Donovan. You're Ray Donovan, And so everybody's got their thing. However, the truth of the matter is, as Ren and I say, and Des says all the time, there is no difference.
No.
You just have to be willing to become your character. Believe me, when I was Mrs. Valley, I was my grandma. Because
Oh,
my
that was
grandma, if you saw how I walked in, just walked like a little shuffle, little old Yiddish bubby, and talking like this, and I can't see too good, are you there? And so becoming that character was so much fun. And Sherry was, Marissa Tomei, and
Yeah, she was
in
kind
all
of
of
wild
her.
and pushy.
What was
yeah.
this? What was that movie with Joe Pesci?
Oh, where they were in a judge in a little town.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
got arrested. I forget what
That
it
was
called.
what was in my mind, and I went.
Where
okay.
she's stomping
My
her
Cousin
feet.
Vinny.
My cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are kind of like, okay. I'm from Chicago. I get it. I can talk like this. Oh my God, Frankie, because Frankie kept fooling around on Sherry. So
Frankie.
to become those characters were really, really fun.
Oh.
And then I could carry it into singing. So that was like.
I like that. That kind of worked out pretty cool at that point. So in doing that, you guys had a lot of fun out there and writing and stuff.
And you did all the sound bites.
We
Ren did all the sound
kind of
bites for
bumped
the
it.
show.
Well, we did what was called sound architecture, and to add more effects. And the later show they added, you did Leader of the Pack,
Yeah.
where Frankie's trying to act like a young leather guy and showing off on his motorcycle.
With the
And I
fans.
put what sounded like the worst car crash on the planet hitting a motorcycle. It went on for like 30 seconds, and he comes crawling on the stage next to your feet, and you're looking down. What?
Get up! What are you being so lazy for?
But it was fun. Soundscape, it was fun.
It was fun.
So we did all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to come back here in a few moments
Again?
and get a little
Yes,
more, and then
again.
we're going to find out a little more about her performance and what's up next.
DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax. DreamWeavers StarTrax.
Hey, Star
Hello,
Trekkers, here we
everyone.
are. And now it's your turn for your questions and stuff. And let's see what questions
Yeah.
they have for you today.
Questions for me?
Before we get started, I actually have a
Okay.
couple questions.
Oh, okay.
So, by looking at what everyone has just seen a moment ago, the costumes are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So, did you just create that just, in order to sell the part, or were you advised to create a certain type of character in order to, portray what you were trying to?
We came up, Ren, of course, because he, wrote and directed the show.
Yeah, but I can't draw.
He
You
wanted.
can draw.
Now you see space and alien and kind of multi-dimensional characters everywhere. But that was like 1993. Yes, people, I was 42 years old. Then, or 41
41.
then, and so was he. And he said we want it kind of space alien, multi-dimensional. So that was what was, but you still can't be so freaky that the audience is going, because it was way ahead of its time.
Right.
So that was the only direction that we had.
And Corinne could draw, and between her and Rachel, they could design anything. But
Yeah.
Corinne had been, even at 15 years old, she was designing leather stuff that Wilson Leather wanted her to come to
So
work for
cool.
them.
So yeah, it was my other passion,
Yeah.
fashion design, costume design specifically. And the only other note that I had to design was that they wanted it to be sensual.
Okay.
So that's why those costumes, because it's Vegas.
Right.
At that time there were a lot of topless shows going on. Our show was not topless, but they wanted it to be able to compete with the topless shows.
Right.
And so that's why the wardrobe was
Although
designed that way.
It was wigless one night.
Oh, we did go wigless one night.
There's a thing at the end you do. You style, and I styled really fast, hit the back of her wig, and it flew up 20 feet.
And I was standing there with and I had gone to the hairstylist at the casino, and because we were out of town that time,
Oh, God.
and he dyed my hair pink accidentally, and
Yeah,
didn't have
so we
time
had
for him
to-
to
she
fix
had to
it.
wear a wig then.
So I had my braid in my face with pink hair, which was not happening back then.
That's
So
fine.
yeah, it was hysterical.
Okay, what do we got?
All right, so we've got some questions here. So the first one is from Corey, who's from Toledo.
Hey, Corey.
Hi, Toledo.
Corey would like to know what inspired you to be in the arts.
I never ever thought about doing anything else. I was 3 years old, and my mom, being a dancer, I would grab her dance shoes and schlep them behind me, drag them behind me, going, I want to be a dancer. I want to be a ballet dancer like Mommy. I never, my grandma used to call me Sarah Bernhardt. Barnhart, no. That's Don Barnhart. That's a friend of mine. But Sarah Bernhardt, which was a silent movie actress.
Yeah.
And because I was so dramatic about everything, I dropped my egg. Oh my God! Sarah Bernhardt. All you have to do is say, "Mommy, I dropped my."
business, yeah.
So and I sang all the time, and I danced around. I mean, I never wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. All I ever wanted to do was be a performer.
Wow.
And my first dance lesson was at 3.
Nice.
So it's I don't know what I wanted to do.
That's
Not
very
if I-
cool.
Very good.
So Dakota, who's from Victoria, Canada, would like to know
Canada.
what was your favorite show that you've been in?
My very favorite show. Well, okay. From this aspect, my favorite show was the Final Impact show, Mysteries of the Night, and Final Impact, because I was working with my beautiful husband and we had a ball. It was great because there was actually some shows that not only were we traveling together, we put our cats in the act.
Yes,
And
we
our kid
snuck
in the
them
act.
in.
So we were able to have the whole family in the act, and we could travel together.
Yeah, which is, that was the basket.
That was the basket.
There's a little basket. It's about this tall. It's about that big. Barely enough to fit one person in. But we decided to push it. We put in Corinne, Rachel, 5'7", and 2 very furry Himalayans.
kitties.
So and they didn't even know. So when they came out, they went in a one set of clothing. They came out in a separate set of clothing with 2 cats. And just for those who want to know, no, there's nowhere else to be but in the basket. And yes, the thing you see with the picture, it looks like my hands are up, is Quasar. Yeah, we actually set it on fire too. We were kind of nuts.
And blew it up.
And blew it up.
So that was fun. We actually did some of our work, and this was fun, on Venice Beach to work our way through college.
That's true.
That was fun. That was a learning experience.
We did have fun.
Band-wise, what was my favorite band?
Yeah.
I think my 12-piece Blue Rain band, blues band, was really fun.
They were
because
fun, yeah.
we had like we had Billy Preston sax player, and we had 3 backup singers.
Although
and
some of the Grovites that you worked with were beasties.
Yeah, that was fun. The one show we did in L.A., mixing the music and magic together. That was fun.
yeah,
Somebody
true.
to Love.
Because everybody at the end of our graduation of the vocal program said, well, you guys are magicians. You got to do something for your graduation. So,
Yeah.
That's
cool.
But we had to make up something, so we designed a complete new illusion.
That was fun. We'll talk more about
pretty
that on
bizarre,
the
yeah.
22nd of September.
very cool. Well, you did kind of sort of answer part of this question.
Uh-oh.
But we have a question from Louie, and the question is, what is your favorite style of music to sing and to listen to?
Okay, hands down. Hands down. Everybody knows me as the blues woman.
It's
I
true.
love the blues. Now,
does.
which is real funny because I am the opposite of a negative person. You know, and they say you have to pay your dues to sing the blues. But I was raised with it, being from Chicago. I sing soul blues mostly. Some blues rock, but mostly soul blues. I think it's because it was what I was raised with.
Yeah.
But it has my heart, the style of it. A lot of times the stuff that I write, which has the blues flavor to it, is either funny or it is positive. It does not necessarily have a negative message.
That's
or
true.
a
Funny,
sad
like
message.
the song you've been working on for a while is Who's Your Mama?
Who's Your
That's
Mama?
a funny song.
Yeah, we'll look for that one
Could
next
you-
year.
Are you capable of giving us a little blues riff here?
A little blues.
Men that you've been seeing, baby, got their souls out on the shelf. How can they ever love you if they can't even love themselves? Well, I need someone to love me, someone to really understand.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
I didn't write that one. I'd be a millionaire if I did.
So we have another question here from Kathy. And the question is, how do you, as a vocal coach, how do you, I apologize, Kathy. So, gotta get it out. How do you go about selecting a really good vocal coach for your child if you're obviously not with you, but if you're in, a town that has a lot of coaches?
Gesundheit.
Bless you.
That's God bless you in Yiddish. That's a very good and important question.
And we got a minute to answer.
I know, especially a child's voice. Very, very fragile. It needs to be in the hands of someone that knows what they're doing. If it were me, I would not necessarily go to the corner music store and just get a voice teacher from there. I would. Right now, you can do everything on Skype, even on
That's true.
speakerphone.
And
go online and find someone.
plus, you have your number down there if they have a question to ask
Call
you.
me, because I teach on Skype, and I teach all over the world on Skype. However, if you want somebody closer to home, find out who they've taught.
Yeah.
Listen to them. Look for testimonials. Go ahead and ask for people to call and talk to them. And make sure it isn't an adult. If you have a child, make sure that they know how to work with a child.
That's a biggie.
Very
Because
good.
it's very, very important. And that you want to make sure it's a technique coach so that you can build a healthy voice and not build
And
in
they
bad
understand child
habits.
psychology is a big one.
You have to know, because kids don't learn the way adults do, especially with boring vocal exercises.
Yeah, Corinne
You
is
know.
considered one of the best child vocal coaches in this country, and there's a lot of reason why. Mostly because the children after about the age 8 are taller than her. But
Well,
that helps.
and I pay them $1 a lesson to do the exercises. Just saying.
All right. So
well,
thank you everybody for your questions.
we do.
appreciate
and
that.
next week we have you know better than I
Yes.
do.
Joey Misselli, who's a singer and songwriter, and Lauren Shelley, Maselli and Shelley, who's a singer and an actor. And they're both amazing. They're LVA students, our performing arts high school students, and they're going to talk about being professionals while still going to a regular performing arts high school.
So keep on being storytellers. We'll catch you next week.